Hello. I'm here at my house recording for the first time because we're all stuck at home during the pandemic, during the coronavirus pandemic, and I thought what better time with all this extra time on my hands than to give a shot at something I've always wanted to try, which is podcasting. So I thought I would just start by introducing myself and showing you what I'm working on and just talking about some things and put it up on the internet and see what people think. I've actually recorded a few other podcasts that never met the light of day. I made notes, I made little, videos, and I just never put it up. So hopefully this one will see the light of day. So my name is Anna Merritt, and currently I live with my family in Phoenix, Arizona, actually in Glendale, which is just outside Phoenix. So as you can see right now, it's sunny and bright and warm and breezy, and we feel pretty lucky that during this time we're able to, if we have to be stuck at our home, we can be outside all day because it's just so beautiful. It's about 75 degrees and breezy and sunny. So the sun kind of comes and goes behind the clouds, which is really nice. So yeah, but enough about weather, that's boring. I've just been so inspired over the last couple days with all of the people who are posting, mystery knit-alongs, coupons, deals, community knit nights, available either on like Facebook Live or Zoom meetings, and it's just so neat to see how people are coming together even during this time. And I just love that we makers, knitters, sewers, and crocheters, spinners, weavers, dyers, we already have a lovely outlet for coping with being by ourselves for long periods of time. So, I was joking with a friend that I've been training hard for this for the last 6-7 years. So I'm ready to sit on my butt all day, do my part, and knit. So I don't know about you all, but I have been a knitting factory. I've knit so many things in the last couple of weeks. So that was kind of even before things started slowing down and shutting down. So anyway, I thought I might show you some things that I've made in the past. I really am all over the place. Sometimes I love really traditional knits, like Fair Isle and yoked Icelandic sweaters. But then I also really love, Stephen West and Suzanne Summer and really bright colors and that kind of thing. So this is one of the things that I finished most recently, which I put on my Instagram, but I did make my son a Pinguino, which is a mini version of an adult Pinguono sweater by Stephen West. So here it is, and what's so fun about it is that you can use, I'm sure you've seen this sweater around, but what's so neat about it is that you don't have to buy yarn to make this sweater. You can use whatever you have, really, whatever weight, whatever. He recommends certain weights, but I'm telling you, there's all kinds of stuff in here. My favorite part of the sweater has to be these really awesome welts that go down, and they're really easy. There's nothing more than knit stitch and occasionally some purl stitches, but it's mostly garter and moss stitch, and then an I-cord. And that's really it. It's super easy. It's knit in pieces, but all just kind of joined together. There's no seaming that I can remember. You're just picking up stitches. So I actually started with this piece, this main back piece. And it's hard to kind of see the colors, but I held it double with this beautiful, I think it's called Glowworm by Primrose Yarns. And then I had this gorgeous Anzula cricket, so soft, and I put them together and I just loved it. So from there I chose all the other colors, and so I mostly stuck with greens, blues, grays, browns, and then I just threw in purple because I was like, gotta add a little excitement here and there, right? But he looks so handsome in it, and he loves to wear it, which, hey, what knitter doesn't love that? when their kids actually love wearing their sweaters. And I know he loves it because he treats it like his other sweaters, which means when he comes home, he throws it on the floor in a giant pile and then picks it up when he's ready to wear it again off the floor. So that's one of my favorite makes. Oh, another really neat thing about this sweater is most of us knitters, we know exactly where all of our yarn came from. Like, I can tell you where I got all of this yarn. And some of this yarn, like some of these, are from my great aunt who, after she, actually this was before she passed away, she sent me and my parents a lot of her yarn. She was a weaver. I think she was a weaver. I don't know if she knit a lot, but a lot of this yarn, like this gold color, is from hers. There was this really funky one. It's all blended in, but just some beautiful, beautiful yarns that I was able to reuse of hers. So that's what's so special about this. It's like a piece of art, but it's an heirloom and it's got special yarns and things that I've bought, and it's great for using up remnants. So it's a real value knit, and it's super not boring. So I recommend it highly to anyone to knit. Let's see. One of the other things that I just recently finished was this. I love Stephen West. I've knit a lot of his shawls, so if I don't say the name of the pattern or who the designer is, you can bet that it's probably Stephen West. So this is the Exploration Station shawl. I've knit another one of these in like a blue-green colorway that's also very bright. And this one was one where I just wanted to knit something fun and creative and just use up some yarn that I had in my stash. And yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, what I used a lot of hedgehog fibers in here. And then my favorite section is, I've done this with both of mine. I kind of just added a little thing right here where I just put in a silk mohair right here in this little stripe to add just a little bit of fun. And you can't tell, but I also added in I held the mohair with this kind of yellow, so you can't, maybe you can see the halo. There we go. It's just so soft, so soft. This was another one where I was just busting up a bunch of yarn. So this is like an old, seriously discontinued Shibui linen. I think it was called like Cavo. It was one of the first yarns I ever bought. And so I had just a little bit left. And then again, here's some yarn that my great aunt gave me that I had left over. And then, yeah, so it's just mostly the same thing, garter stitch. But if you're feeling adventurous, there is a little brioche, which is reversible. And one of this beautiful slipped stitch pattern. Oh, I wish you could see the colors better. It's kind of a peachy, yellowy pink with these pops of neon. So beautiful. And then, yeah, just that linen cavo down at the bottom, so it's nice and drapey. I have to be honest, I'm one of those people that if I don't like how something's going, I will straight up rip it out and start over. I can't bear to waste yarn, and like if you buy hedgehog fibers or any other indie dyed yarn, you know you cannot waste that yarn because it's $24 to $40 a skein, and there's just no way that I would ever let that go to waste. So I was a little disappointed it didn't give me the color variation that I wanted as much to me. Like from far away, this kind of looks like a hot dog. Like, see, like here's the wiener and like here's the bun and maybe the ketchup. So I'm kind of like, oh. So one thing I was thinking, I love this. Here, I'll just go ahead and put it on. Boom. One thing I was thinking to add a little bit of contrast is I've got this beautiful, this is one of my all-time favorite colors. It's Madeline Tosh. I think it's called like Havana. I've bought like 4 skeins of this and used it in various projects. But I was wondering if I put either little tassels or maybe even hooked tassels like along here, little ones, to add this color pop to make it look less like a hot dog and more like I meant to do this, right? So maybe little tassels, or I'm not sure what, but I thought that might be pretty altogether. So I don't know, we'll see if I get around to doing it. Fix my hot dog sweater. Another project that I just finished, I put it on my Instagram page. But, and my daughter's wearing it right now, so I'm not gonna steal it from her. But I made her a Lepue Cardigan from Hedgehog Fibers. And the designer, I don't know if you say her name, Beata, but she has designed a lot of really beautiful, simple, striking patterns. The Lepue Cardigan is a free pattern, so you can just download it and make it, and it's super easy. Same thing, you can use whatever yarns. It's a great stash buster. Or you can do a fade with speckles, which, you know, Hedgehog Fibers has beautiful ones. But I actually found this yarn at my local Joann's. It's Shawl and a Cake by Lion Brand. It's 50% cotton. It's got a little cotton thread in the middle, and then it's got like polyester, or no, acrylic and other fiber. Possum, raccoon, cat, dog, who knows. But it's really fuzzy. It's very pretty, and I got this in the bargain bin for $3. I actually ordered a second one because I wasn't sure I'd have enough, but I actually didn't need it. One of these was enough for the entire, this is a children's cardigan, so to do an adult one you probably would, but you really don't need that much. So this is 481 yards. It is pretty big, and 150 grams. So I don't know, what is that, like sport or DK? It says it's DK, but to me it looks more like fingering. Anyway, I held it double because that's the thing that you do. You hold it double, and then you what is that called, where you stripe it in and out to do the fade. And so I held it double with this pretty yarn that I got up at a little yarn shop in Estes Park. I know they make some of these, but a few of them are discontinued. So this one's called Linaza by the Plymouth Yarn Company. It's alpaca, linen, and tencel or something like that. But it's so soft and it's very drapey, and it also has a little halo in it. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, it's really pretty and I love it. So I did these two together and made a cardigan, and maybe I can either show a photo or talk about it next time or something, assuming there is a next time, if this podcast sees the light of day. So yeah, another thing that I'm thinking about making, maybe I'll talk about that later. One thing I'm actively making right now is I love Jessie May's design. She is a designer and maker based out of Chicago, and you've probably seen her things. She makes beautiful, size inclusive bras, really feminine, romantic tops. She just came out with a pair of butt shorts. They're really cute. So just for all this time for quarantine, she just released a pattern called her secret little crop top or something, or yes. So it's a mystery knit along. Right now it's free if you go to her website, to her Instagram, which I can link in the bottom. I don't know how to do any of this, so God willing it'll be somewhere here where you can find it. But she'll send you the instructions and you just pick your yarns. Don't think about it too hard. I literally just dug up, oh, this is the hot dog color from my hot dog sweater. This one is also Madeline Tosh neon peach or something like that, electric peach, neon peach. I've also bought like 3 skeins of this. It's one of my favorites. But I held that double with some Hue Loco, and I'm just gonna fade it out and play with a bunch of colors. So here's some of the other colors that I'm thinking about adding. Like I have this is Hedgehog Fibers called Budgie, which are, I think in America we call them like parakeets, budgies. They're those little birds. See, it's blue with these pretty little yellow flecks. So I thought after I phase out the hot dog pink color, I can do in the blue. Or I've also got this beautiful, it's called Monarch. It's orange and yellow with, it's got purples, pinks, blacks. I love this yarn. This was actually in a shawl that I finished and knit. It was a mystery knit along, and I loved the shawl, but it was impossible to wear. So I ripped the entire thing out and rewound the yarn, which is why it looks like ramen. Oh, and then I also have this mess. It's a Primrose sock yarn, which I love Primrose. I love her colors. I love, she has good value, I think, for hand-dyed yarns, and they're really quality. So I might throw this in there too. And this is in I totally hacked a Bagu pattern. I just like made up my own because I was too cheap to buy a $7 Bagu bag. But yeah, this is with some Amy Butler fabric that I've had since probably 2006. Looks like, is that Midwest Modern? I don't know. Anyway, one of the things we have here in Phoenix, which I love, and if you live here and you sew, you know about this place. It is called SAS Fabrics, and it's a remnant shop. You can get top of the line designer quilting cotton, lawns, voiles, I hate the word voile, I say voile, voiles, beautiful, beautiful fabrics. You never know what's going to be there because they get remnants and cast-offs, and some of them are slightly imperfect, for $3.99 a yard. So I have some Anna Maria Horner, well, not so much anymore, but I had a lot of Amy Butler, Kay Fassett, beautiful, beautiful fabrics that you can get really cheap there. Plus they have like jerseys, they have fancy, like if you wanted to make a princess ball gown for your daughter or son, they have every imaginable sparkly thing for dresses you could possibly want. So it's a really great place. And one thing I will say though is when you walk in, you would see what I was talking about. Maybe I can take a picture and show it, but if anyone was to ever die in a fabric shop, it would be this one. There's just like rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls and like dark corners and like people everywhere. It's where you'd be stampeded or crushed to death in a fabric shop. But I still go. It's a great place. Okay. I feel like there was something else I was going to share. Oh, yes. So one more thing that I thought I would share. This is a work in progress. I actually started this a couple of years ago, and I got nearly finished with it. It is a Phloem cardigan, and it was in the, was it Amirisu magazine? I just bought the pattern because I thought it looked so pretty, and I made it, but my brioche gauge and fisherman's gauge is super, super loose. So I guess I didn't test my gauge, but I basically knit the entire thing and realized I was running out of yarn, and I had a ton of yarn, and it was enormous on me. So same thing, I'm like, I'm not wasting all this sweater quantity's weight of yarn. So I ripped it out and started over again. And so this is what I have right now. So what it is it's kind of like a boxy cropped cardigan, and it's done in rib and fisherman's rib. I don't like fisherman's rib, so I don't know why. So I'm actually doing it in brioche instead of fisherman's rib. I can get a little teensy bit more control of my gauge with brioche than I can with fisherman's rib. But yes, so here it goes. It has just a wide brim that goes down, and then it has kind of cropped sleeves. So I haven't worked on it for ages, but I just love the yarn. It's a Madeline Tosh. I think it's called Smokestack. It's totally discontinued. It's ancient. I've probably had it for 5 years, and I got it, I think, on discount from a yarn shop. So yeah, trying to decide if I'm gonna take that up again while quarantined. And then yeah, I'm thinking as far as like future projects, I really have a couple of projects that I'd love to knit. I really want to support, there's a local dyer here in Phoenix called Less Traveled Yarn, and I'd really love to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn from her and knit something up. And I'm thinking I either want to do like the ranunculus sweater or the Tegna or there's another one I'm thinking at, but I've forgotten what it's called. But I was thinking for the ranunculus, I actually have 2 of these lanazas, and I bought these on sale at a local yarn shop. They were, I think, $12 a skein, and these things are huge. They're like 440 yards. And it's, like I said, this is the alpaca linen tencel blend. And they've discontinued a lot of these. They still make some, but in limited colors. But it's really drapey, super, super soft. And I was thinking this knit up, because it's already got kind of a fuzz going on, this on some big needles for the ranunculus sweater or top would be just gorgeous. Like, I don't wear a lot of red, but I think I should. Everybody should wear red. Red looks good on a lot of people. Let's see. So that's about all the projects that I have. So yeah, one of the things that I'm really into as a knitter, and I also sew and crochet, is sustainability, and also just being mindful where things come from. So on the one hand, I try to always buy natural fibers if I possibly can, but also sometimes you can't afford to buy natural fiber yarn and knit a sweater. I mean, it's always over 50 bucks. And like my husband, who's 6'3" and 260 pounds, he really wants a wool sweater. It'll probably be $300 of yarn. Just like, that's out of reach for most people. It's barely in reach for me. I'll have to save up for a long time to be able to knit a sweater like that. So, you know, I love that aspect, because as you know, they are beginning to find that in our water systems, in our oceans and rivers, we have plastic particles in our waterway. Yeah. I really... So my son just came and got me because he and his sister couldn't decide which Super Mario Brother game to play next. During this time of social isolation, we have been doing a lot more media than we normally do. We are formerly homeschooling family, and our kids go to a local Waldorf school here. But like mostly everybody, the kids are home and trying to find things for them to do all day long, you know, gets a little boring. So they've been playing on my husband's old Nintendo system, NES system from, I don't know what, 1988. So they're playing Mario Brothers now. They were playing Battletoads, you know, going old school. Anyway, so while I feel that I was talking about sustainability and how it's very important to buy fibers that don't harm the planet or cause harm, and so many of our clothing ends up in landfills, and also they find that in the ocean there are microparticles of plastic from our clothing. When we wash our clothing, little bits of the particles wash out, get into our water system. Microorganisms eat them, suffer, they can't flourish, and then as it goes up the food chain, more and more organisms are affected. And so it's really important to me to try to only purchase natural fibers and only make with natural fibers. That being said, I also think making and crafting should be available to everybody. And if you can't afford wool or premium cotton or silk or whatever, you should be able to buy whatever fiber you need to be able to craft, or to even wear clothes. If you need to buy clothes at the thrift store that aren't natural fibers, that's what you have to do. So it's a very big privilege to be able to choose what kind of fiber you wear. But it's still something that we can all try to do if we possibly can. Like for instance, this one, $3 yarn that I got. It's like $6.99 online, but $3 at the bargain bin at the store. And it's, you know, synthetic fibers. But it was really great. I made a sweater for my daughter for about $18. It's pretty great, handmade sweater. So, and yes, I know I'm touching my face. I'm really sorry. I'm by myself and hoping to, I'll be washing my hands before I go in. I can hear a really big bug buzzing somewhere. I don't know if you can hear the weed whacker, but there's a weed whacker going back there. Hopefully it's not too loud. But yeah, so those are kind of my passions. I really love to sew. I kind of go through phases where I knit a lot and then I get tired of it and I sew a lot. A couple years ago, my friend Scarlett taught me how to quilt. So I've partially learned how to quilt. I've learned how to do the tops. So I've made 2 quilt tops, but I haven't learned how to like sandwich them and actually produce a quilt. So that's something I'm looking forward to learning. I haven't really gotten into spinning and dyeing. I've tried weaving, I've tried spinning, I do like it, but it's one of those things that I don't really want to get into it because I already have a lot of money invested in yarn. So yeah, I mostly knit and I mostly sew, and occasionally I crochet. Mostly when I crochet little toys. Like, oh, in fact, we were watching Fruity Knitting the other day with the interview with Carrie Lord from Top Yarn. And that made my daughter remember that we had this book, which is so fun. It's got like 50 or something. Yeah, 50 crochet patterns of all these little doggies. They're so fun to make, so cute. I've made the little Weimaraner. Oh, here's all the dogs that you can make. There's so many, and they're so cute. So my daughter's making one right now, and yeah, this is something that we definitely enjoy doing. Some of the makers that I really love are, and I'm sure I'm always looking for new podcast channels to watch. I'm kind of particular about which ones I watch. I don't watch there's a few that I really like that I like to watch. So probably the first one that I really started watching was Camelbornia, which is Dennis and Sophia Camelborn. They live in Sweden, and the show is in Swedish, but Sophia speaks English, so she puts subtitles on the bottom, and so it's very easy to follow along. It's got beautiful photography and footage of Gotland, where they live. It's an island in the Baltic Sea. It's so beautiful. Makes you want to just bake and wear wool socks and knit all day long and drink tea. So that's my favorite. And then I also love Fruity Knitting. That's another one where it's a highly produced, very well produced knitting and making podcast where they do interviews and they highlight. I've learned so much about yarn and techniques and about people I would have never heard of through Fruity Knitting. So those are podcasts I like. I love Joji Locatelli from Buenos Aires. She does a journal maybe once a week, every couple of weeks, but hers is another just great podcast. She has a beautiful voice. Listening to her speak, she's delightful. She is so smart. She's a doctor who decided she didn't want to be a doctor and basically knits, and she's prolific. I'm sure you've heard of Joji Locatelli designs. I've knit a few of her patterns. She's a genius, and she's a mom, and I love hearing all about what it's like to live in South America. I've always been enchanted by the Southern Hemisphere. It just seems so like magical and beautiful, and yeah, she shares a lot about what it's like to be a knitter in Buenos Aires. I like Taking Back, is it Taking Back Friday or Taking Back Sunday? It's, she is the podcaster and the owner of Sweet Georgia Yarns in Vancouver, Canada. And I really like her podcast too. She also has a beautiful speaking voice and very soothing to listen to. And she's like master weaver, like incredible mom. I love watching her podcast. There's a new podcast that I started watching probably about 6 or 8 months ago called M to the Third, and it's done by Mackenzie. She lives in Boston. She's a West Coast girl living in Boston, and she's a fat maker who is all about sustainability, size inclusivity, and just making sure that there's community for everybody in the knit community. So I really love seeing, she also dyes her own yarn. She has her own yarn company. And I'm always just curious to see what she's doing. And I just love her perspective and her outlook on things. I think that's kind of it for podcasts. Some of my favorite makers that I follow on Instagram, I really love, as I already mentioned, Jessie May. She is Jessie Made, M-A-E-D, designs, and I already talked about her. She makes beautiful feminine like bras, little booty shorts, beautiful sweaters, and everything is size inclusive, so anybody can wear it, anybody can knit it, and she has a lot of tutorials and tips for really making those special finishing touches. Let's see, what are some other ones that I love? Amy from Little Tailoress. She's from the UK, and she has beautiful, beautiful taste. Just very soft, romantic, vintage style. And I know she has one knit pattern called the Whitmore sweater, which I would love to knit. But she also has a sewing pattern. She's a master seamstress, and she has a beautiful podcast. I don't think she's podcasting right now, but okay, so that's another podcaster I love. She has some back episodes that you can watch, and she's a delight. She's so cute and really funny, and she has great taste and great style. Yeah, let's see, who else? I really try to follow as diverse a group of makers as I possibly can. Because it's so important to stay connected with people and to hear what the community is talking about and to support. There are so many makers of all shapes, all colors, all sizes, all backgrounds, all ethnicities. It's great. What a wonderful and diverse community that we have in the making community, especially knitting and sewing, which are the two that I follow mostly. But yeah, so if I think of any more, maybe I can highlight some in another podcast, or I don't know, maybe I'll redo this and say something else. Yeah, but I don't know. I just thought one of the things I love about the podcasts that I do follow is that they do actively try to make community. They try to interact with one another. They try to help one another, chat, support one another. And that's something that I really appreciate about the podcasters and makers that I talked about previously. So I'm hoping that this can be something where people come on and comment. So please do leave comments, ask questions. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a weird place to knit, to be sure, because it's really, really hot. And having a pile of wool in your lap for about 8 months out of the year is just not really that much fun. But it's something that I love to do, and so if you have any questions about living here, you can ask them. But yeah, I'm hoping to continue this depending on, who even cares if I get a reaction? I'll just put it out there and see what happens, because what else am I gonna do? I'm a stay-at-home mom during the coronavirus quarantine. So I guess I'll stop here for now, and now I've got to figure out how to edit it and put it on YouTube. So that could take weeks. So we'll see. Today is like, oh my God, I don't even know what the date is. 25th? I have no idea. It's March. It's Thursday. So we'll see. Maybe I can get this up in a couple days. I have no idea. But if you liked what you have seen, want to get to know me more, want to tell me about yourself, maybe you're going to make a podcast, link it in the comments. Yeah, find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Anna_Hiraeth. And I post mostly knitting, but other stuff too. And so I'd love to get connected with people out there. So hope you enjoyed me talking, and I'll talk to you later.